Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Knowledge. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Scalpers. And no, we're not going to be talking about Billy Scalper McGee over there clearing out Target shelves and Walmart shelves. No, I think you guys are a little smarter than that. I think you know where we're going with this video. But we will talk a little bit about old Billy Scalper McGee, but that's not really what we're going to focus on. But before we get into the topic of this video, I just want to first say thank you to everybody that tuned in for my first ever live stream. Yeah, I did a face reveal. I guess it's a big deal for any channel whenever you decide to do that. But a lot of you guys, were real interactive with the chat, asked some really good questions, real supportive. I really appreciate that, guys. And I'm sure that live stream is just, the first of many to come. Now it's time to get into the meat of this topic, and the reason why you clicked on this video, that's to talk about scalpers. Because scalpers, it's not just like a simple definition. Sure, a lot of people just want to label that simple definition that a scalper is just somebody that goes into Target and Walmart, buys product up at MSRP, so that product is no longer available to other people. They go home, they instantly throw it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and they are just trying to make that easy dollar. Yeah, maybe that is true to a sense, and maybe that's more like the stereotypical, or call it the more traditional definition of a scalper. But the definition recently, especially when it relates to Pokemon, and yeah, you could probably give me the Webster dictionary of scalper and it's not the same, but this is a Pokemon video. We're going to talk about scalpers as it relates to Pokemon. And the scalper recently has changed a lot. People think of scalpers just being greedy, being foolish, like going in and just buying products and having super low margins. And yeah, maybe that's true, but there's different levels of scalpers. You have like the very uneducated scalper, and maybe that person's into sports cards and stuff like this, and yeah, they're not dumb, so they recognize if they see an ETB of Hidden Fates be restocked on Walmart shelves, they'll pick it up because they know the hot sets. But maybe they're not like super familiar with all the individual sets, release dates for Pokemon cards, all that kind of stuff. Then you have like that more higher end tier scalper, the person that understands like everything that's going on in the hobby. They understand the hype. They understand when pre-orders get released. They understand when Pokemon Center exclusives get released. They are utilizing bots. They're doing like a very high-end, like next level type of scalper. And these people are bad. They're bad for the hobby, and the reason why they're bad is because they're taking advantage of people. And the reason why they're taking advantage of people is because they're taking a product that should be more readily available to different people in the hobby, and they're just making that product that should be relatively available, and they're just limiting it very strongly. Now, what's the difference between like a scalper and somebody that goes in and clears out store shelves just for their personal collection? They become a hoarder, and they're also limiting the product to other people. You can make like the comparisons between those two people. But then, the topic that's been going on right now is the people that aren't buying product at MSRP. The people that are buying their product at distributor level pricing. The question now is definitely being asked more than it was, and it's been asked now for a little while, but I think now the topic is having more light shown on it. And that's the question of, are the people with distributor type of agreements and price points, are they scalpers? And see, the thing is, this topic isn't easy. There's no right or wrong answer. It's not a simple, yes or no, right versus wrong, good versus bad. It's not like that. It's very complex. And the very first thing people need to realize that a lot of people can't, because they, for whatever reason, get emotionally involved, emotionally invested in different people. And people who have agreements with distributors who are getting product at cost, I'll tell you something right now, they're running a business. And most businesses, if not all businesses, should be running their business to make money, and most of the time to maximize profit. Now, I think where the argument is, or at least the concern for a lot of people is, yeah, maybe you can maximize profit, but it doesn't mean you need to like step on people's necks in order to get there. And yeah, is that like a drastic thing to say? Yeah, of course it is. But the reason I say that is because that's what a lot of people feel. And I'm not afraid to like voice the opinions of the minority of people in this hobby. Or maybe, you know, as we've seen more recently, maybe it's turning into a little bit more of the majority of how people feel. And yeah, people get upset. But the truth is, people who are running businesses are trying to maximize their money. And if you think they're your friend and you don't know them, but you think for some reason that they have your best interest in mind, with almost no proof of that, you need to be very cautious because they're not your friend. They don't know you. They don't know your name. They don't know where you live. They don't care where you live. They don't care what your name is because they're running a business. And their businesses are trying to maximize money. Now, the question has to be, well, if you are upset at the prices that people are charging, the question is, well, at what point are you not upset? And it's that simple question of, is it MSRP, or are you okay with a little bit over MSRP? Are you okay with the total, ass backwards argument that things are market value? And yeah, I'm sure probably most of you guys are out there listening and you're tired of that same old beat the dead horse type of argument. Market value. Oh, God. Market value is the most manipulated term anyone could ever use. I want you to think about that. You're talking about market value. You're talking about people that went out. Yeah, and then that's the true scalper, right? The market value guy. That's the guy that goes out to Walmart, picks up product at MSRP, goes home, puts it on, eBay, and that price is market value. What they can get, the top dollar that they can get for flipping that product at while buying it at MSRP. So to hear people that are picking up that product for much less, and not only are they picking up the product for a much lower price point, obviously, than MSRP, but their ability to pick up more product is probably much easier than you. And, that's the things that come with having distributor agreements, is the ability to pick up product. Now, whether or not that product is a lot is totally subjective, because most people, especially right now, as we're speaking in this hobby, who are ordering product, probably always want more. So whatever that product is, whether they get one of something or they get 1,000 of something, it's probably never enough. And it's probably, not as much as they ordered or not as much as they want. And the reason why is because they know if they got more of that product, they would probably be able to very easily sell it. And you can go through different sets and different products and you understand, which products sell better. If you had a set, you could very easily identify the top performers. You think about like any recent set, and we'll just go for screw it. We'll talk about Celebrations, because Celebrations is the current pre-order set. If anybody has the ability to order a ton of Celebration premium collection boxes, they're going to do it. MSRP for those things is like $119. The price markup for those is ridiculous. If somebody out there had the ability to get hundreds or thousand, or screw it, some people would probably take every single one that would get released on the market and they would love to just sell those things. And that's because those products have a high dollar amount. But that's the thing, right? Is to quote market value, in my opinion, and again, this is my channel, this is my opinion, I get to do this stuff, is the biggest freaking cop-out in history. And especially when you're doing it in a way that is not truthful, it's not transparent, and you could camouflage it, you can mask it as being transparent, as being truthful. But you can talk all you want, because talk is cheap. That's why people say that saying. Talk is cheap. But actions speak much louder than words. So, when you have people talking about all this stuff, but then they're going and they're doing the opposite action, it brings up a lot of questions. It makes you questions people's true motives, true intentions. Where do they really stand in the hobby? Who do they really care about? Do they care about you? Do they care about you? Do they care about the community? Because that's the big argument, right? Is that people care about the community. But what does that mean? They care about the community to what? Educate people, to inform people. But do they care about the community enough to, save somebody money? And that's what it boils down to. Do they care about the hobby in a way that benefits the person, absorbing this information? Does it benefit them financially? And a lot of people are probably going to say, those are separate things. Those are separate conversations. Those are separate arguments. You can be very active with the Pokemon community and, be like what some people consider like a beacon of good for the hobby, or a beacon of somebody that has the best interest for the community. And then they'll say, yeah, they could have the best interest, but they don't need to save you money. They don't need to not charge you more than that product, is available in other places. And why I say it's available other places at MSRP, most likely it's going to get sold out, probably get sold out quickly, and it might be hard to get it. But sometimes things are allowed to be hard to get. And the question can now be asked, do the people that are doing this, do they actually consider themselves scalpers? Because a lot of these people will probably preach things that we already know. They'll preach about like the dangers of pack breaker prices, people that are selling packs to people in their communities, people within their social networks and within their channels or within their Discords or within their Instagrams or within their Twitter accounts or whatever. And they're taking advantage of people by selling these packs to them at very high inflated prices. And not only are they selling, these packs at high inflated prices, they're also talking about like the investment of these packs or of these cards. So now if you can say, okay, we're in agreement that pack breakers could very often have very dangerous, like very sketchy type of business models that are probably unethical. And a lot of people would probably say, yeah, they're unethical and that they take advantage of people. Now, can you say that somebody that is getting product at distributor level costs, if they're now still preaching investment and still talking about like, they'll talking about like the dollar amounts of cards, talking about prices of cards, talking about investment opportunity within sets, within raw cards, within graded cards, possibly sponsored, in ways that are arguably questionable, where their true positions lie, get a little jaded and aren't able to ever talk about any of the negatives of some of the stuff that they sponsor. But I want you to think about this. Are they any different than the pack breakers? Because all the arguments for, being against pack breakers, like I said, talking about investing, but also selling the product to their listeners, is that a conflict of interest? And I would say that it is. I would say that somebody who is talking about the investment, talking about the prices, when they're selling that product to their listeners, but they're selling it at prices that are just overinflated, maybe not, sometimes selling at prices that are so high that sometimes even the secondary market inflated prices do not justify. And that's interesting. I want you guys to think about that. I want you to think about the definition of scalper. Now, how does that relate to Pokemon? How does that relate to 2020? How does it relate to 2021? And originally, this wasn't the video I was going to make tonight. It's going to be a different video. But I heard a lot of people talking about this. I don't really know what, is going to come of a lot of this stuff. What's going to come of, this conversation. I think a lot of it is people are just becoming smarter. Smarter collectors, smarter investors. It's a cop-out to pay over MSRP. Be lazy. Go get your booster boxes for, $160 when you could have bought them easily at $140. And if you were smart, you could have bought them at $120, $110. There's different levels of collectors, different level of investors that are going to come out of this hobby. And I've told you on this channel before, the people who pay over MSRP will be the ones who either A, fail, or B, if they don't fail, they're going to have the hardest climb out of whatever hole this modern product that they're buying at inflated prices, puts them in. And the sad part is you watch them very often dig their own sort of graves. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people are buying modern at inflated prices, not to open, not to enjoy the set, but to collect, to hoard, to keep sealed, to keep as an investment. And I talked about it as long ago, and you can go back and probably hear me preach the same, argument in 100 different videos, talking about all the people I watch buy Shining Fates ETBs at $120. And I wasn't mad at the people buying them. I was disappointed in the people buying them. The only people I was, really mad at were the people selling them at that price. And not only were people selling them at that price, they were selling at that price knowing that those prices were going to drop. Not a question, not a shred of doubt in their mind. They knew exactly what Shining Fates ETBs were going to do. But they did not care. But I want to know now. I want to know what you guys think. Are you going to tell me that, you don't understand, people do so much more for the community than you realize. And it's okay if they, charge a little bit extra. People are just supporting them. Oh, what a crock that is. Support, 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 support. What does that even mean anymore? The definition of supporting people has gone out the window recently. So what does that mean? Because I make videos too. You know that, right? Here on my channel, you're listening to this. So does that mean that now I get to, if I wanted, I could just scam you guys out of some money? As long as it's not too much money. Just scam me out a little bit of money. I could sell you guys some product that is obviously worth less money than I'm selling it for. But you guys will be okay with that because I made some videos trying to be helpful, trying to give you guys thought processes or, investment advice, or maybe just talk about the hobby. Is that what you're going to tell me? That, oh, yeah, so I don't have that big of a channel. I only have, 2,300 subscribers or whatever, but I'm allowed to just, scam people out of only a little bit of money. But it's okay because I'm part of the community. No, I hope you don't say that. I hope you don't think that at all. I hope I don't ever get to that level where, I start somehow scamming my listeners, people that I care about, the community. Hope I don't ever get to a level where I mask, what I'm doing. Hopefully I like to think that this channel is doing a good thing. And I hope that I never get to a level where I could now mask me taking your money. I think that's just, that just makes me sick. Here we are, guys. I don't know what was the topic of this video again? I don't know. This topic was something. It was fun though. Alright. This is going to bring us to the end of this video. Other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next video.